Yo, what's good YouTube, man? It's your boy B, and I'm back with another video. And in today's video, I'm gonna be explaining how FieldSense works. Now, as some of y'all or a lot of y'all should already know, Madden has already dropped a trailer, and their whole big thing with Madden 23 is gonna be this FieldSense system. Now, basically, the basis of FieldSense is it's not the game engine; it's the system that the system that the game is going to be ran on. So all the animations and how the technology behind the animations and things like that, that's all FieldSense is. But I am going to dive deeper and more in detail to what everything they added with it, because they claim they added a whole lot of new animations. And if you looked at the trailer, y'all seen a lot of new stuff, like the aim passing or the target passing, whatever you want to call it, stuff like that, man. And I'm here to, like I said, I'm just here to break it down. But the only thing, my opinion on it, I'm just gonna go ahead and give y'all that, is that this can easily be messed up, but this can easily be made a great game, man. So it's up to really EA at this point, man. There has been a good bit of reviews so far, because the beta has dropped. Unfortunately, I didn't get a beta code, but from the people who has gotten a beta call, I will put a tweet on the screen right now, and he states that he threw a wheel route two times and it got intercepted. So that's one of the first good things to Madden 23, man, is stopping those wheel routes getting spammed, man. You shouldn't be able to do the same thing 5 times in a row without the AI picking up on it or anything like that, man. So let's go now, hop into all the information we have about FieldSense. Alright, y'all, man. First things first, we're going to start with the description that the Madden website gave us, and it reads, FieldSense is the foundation for consistent, ultra-realistic gameplay that gives you more control at every position and affects you every game mode in Madden 23. Fueled by new physics-informed animation and animation branching technology, FieldSense makes gameplay more authentic, bringing more variety and realistic physics-driven outcomes. FieldSense come to life in Madden 23 in 4 major ways through new control mechanics that we're calling hit everything, skill-based passing, 360 cuts, and wide receiver versus DB battles. We're starting on the defensive side of the ball with hit everything. Now, like I've already said, it's not the game engine. It's just a system. It's the system behind the technology for Madden 23, man. So it's nothing more than that. They just gave it a title. Don't think anything more than that, man. It's just a new system that the game is being ran with for animations and things like that. Now, like I've already said, we're starting with the hit everything. And here's a description for that. Hit everything is comprised of 6 key components that offer emergent gameplay interaction, combined with over 3,500 new animations, to give you the control over every impact, tackle, and collision for more authentic outcomes. Now, 3,500 new animations is a lot. I want to know if EA is going to be able to execute with that many new animations. Are we still gonna have those glitchy animations in the game and things like that? Hopefully FieldSense can fix all of that things, because they claim, we're gonna get to this a little later, but they claim that they started to fix more of the animations, make it more realistic. If a guy dives in front of somebody, they're gonna trip over him and things like that. But now let's head over to the first component of Hit Everything, which is going to be titled Hit the Pile. Hit the Pile is a physics-informed animation selection system built to give players more dynamic animations in multiplayer tackle situations. In every collision with Hit the Pile, key physical factors such as players involved in the pile and the impact being brought to the pile and are used to determine the proper outcome from a variety of possible outcomes. Now, this means that when there's a gang tackle or something like that, there's not gonna be any crazy animations. If somebody, if one person's kind of holding on to him and another person comes to come tackle him, it's gonna be more of like a gang tackle. We're gonna get more into that in the future, and things like that. So it's just gonna be like a lot less of people running past people and not tackling them. Everybody's gonna, like, if they're close enough to tackle them, they're gonna attempt to play their role in a more realistic way, versus, like, as y'all can see in Madden 22 a lot, where a lot of defenders are being ran past, and if they do hold on to them and stuff like that, another defender may come in and miss or something like that, or not even attempt to interact unless you click on the switch or anything like that. Those are the only ways. So hopefully, based off the description, that is what they're fixing with this Hit the Pile component to hit everything. Now, for the second portion of this is going to be gang tackles and Madden 23 will be more organic and unpredictable in how they look, behave, but also will offer players more control to impact the pile throughout the play. The new system will allow defensive players to seamlessly add on to ongoing tackle interactions at any point, whether they be two-man tackles or gang tackles. Now, like I was just saying, man, hit the pile is about more people coming in to join the tackles and stuff like that, being more active as far as when not just one player, like your user attempting to tackle them and things like that. And so yeah, so like it says here, man, you're gonna have control over all that stuff. I believe that's what they're trying to go for as far as FieldSense. Now this can completely go left because I hate video games that try and go to the point where they're too realistic to where they're not even a video game anymore. So hopefully Madden can find the perfect balance between realistic and video game like with this new FieldSense system. Now, the second portion of the hit everything feature is going to be the component stand-up tackles. Now this states on the back of the hit the pile, on the back of hit the pile, we're adding the stand-up tackles feature to create even more moments where a ball carrier can be stood up intentionally to give teammates the opportunity to come in and make a play. Stand-up tackles is a battle mechanic where the ball carrier fights to break a tackle against a defender fighting to secure the tackle, with both players mashing the tackle button as quickly as possible to gain the advantage. Now, y'all know what this sounds like. It sounds like tackle battles from back in the day. Now, hopefully it's not no game, like I said, not too video game like to where they're just sitting there and you're just spamming a button and they kind of slow everything down, because I do enjoy the fact that over the years that they've made Madden a more fast-paced game. And so yeah, so basically, like I said, this is just you stand up tackle and you basically have a gang battle. If you don't know what that means, that's basically where you're basically fighting to take each other down, whether the opponent wants to break the tackle or your user or your defensive user wants to tackle your opponent. Now, yes, there's more to this, and it says not only is the outcome of the tackle in question, but the ball carrier also has a higher chance of fumbling while being stood up. So when extra defenders add onto the pile, they can lay a hit stick or strip the ball out to cause a turnover. Now what this means is maybe another defender from across the field may come in, see that you're in a tackle battle, come in for a hit stick, and if he's not protecting the ball, it is a higher chance for a fumble. Now I do like this because sometimes there is those situations where sometimes they just can't get through them, or the defender just can't tackle them, and sometimes you do need an extra defender to kind of come help. Now, what the defender does, the second defender kind of does to come help, is all up to you, I believe. Whether they want to come in for the hit stick or to go for the strip fumble. Now, more on this topic. On the offensive side, players can hold the protect ball button to reduce the chance of a fumble while giving up the ability to break the tackle. As a last resort, ball carriers can even give themselves up at any time and concede the stand-up tackle to completely negate their fumble chances. So what's that saying is basically you do not have to take the risk of fumbling just because you're in a tackle battle. You do not even have to continue to engage in the tackle battle to risk the chances of fumbling. And if you are gonna attempt to engage in the tackle battle, that's just what I'm calling it. They're calling it stand-up tackles. But if you are gonna engage in stand-up tackles, you can protect the ball to kind of, you feel me, just in case there is somebody coming in for an strip or a hit stick or something like that. There is a counter on the offensive end, which is amazing because you do not want anything to be one-sided with these new features. And it claims that there's a lot of animation, so I'm getting the feeling that there is going to be a lot of possible outcomes with these stand-up tackles / tackle battles. Now, more on that. Here we have it. The size of the ball carrier, defenders, and ratings of the player in the stand-up tackle all factor into who will have the best chance to win these interactions. Those big, bruising running backs will have a much easier time winning against smaller defensive backs, while a linebacker is more likely to win against smaller receiving backs. Now, I like this a lot because this is one of the areas where I do want Madden to be a lot realistic when it comes to defensive players and size. Now, if Derrick Henry is lined up, or if Derrick Henry is going on with a one-on-one with a cornerback, he should be able to run through that cornerback 9 out of 10 times, man. I don't see a world where Derrick Henry is not running through a cornerback with maybe losing a little bit momentum. with that. Now, as far as maybe Derrick Henry against a linebacker like Levante David, Devin White, or anything like that, I do see a world where they can make the tackle or they can hold him up for, you feel me, a reasonable amount of time. And also another thing that I like that they stated is that these stats matter, because I know a lot, if you look at it, a lot of the time, these stats, a lot of times there's a lot of useless stats within Madden that don't matter at all. So hopefully they can make a lot of those stats that don't matter matter a little bit more than they do in previous Maddens. And so yeah, so now we have the next component of hit everything. We still are on the hit everything component. We're just breaking it down now. Now we have the hitting blocks component of hit everything, and it states not only can you interact in different ways with ongoing tackles, but you can do the same with ongoing blocking interactions too. When in range of a blocking interaction as a defender, the hit stick can be used to run into a block to blow it up with force, to create a pile, get through traffic, to get into pursuit of the ball carrier, or get a teammate free. Now, what this means is, let's say for instance, you're a linebacker and you have a one-on-one with a defensive end that's not as good as the tackle. What you can do is you can run up with your user and maybe use the hit stick button to give your not so good end an advantage against a defensive tackle, just for the simple fact that you kind of pushed them back to kind of free them up. And also what it said about the getting to the running back is, if there's a blocker in motion or something that your defensive line or linebacker is stuck on, what you can do as a user is kind of knock the block off of them by using the hit stick button to free up that linebacker / defensive end to kind of get in there. Now, I don't know how much momentum you need to kind of use this feature. I'm guessing you should need about a running start to kind of hit stick a blocker for it to mean something, because if you try and do this, say for instance you're using a safety and you kind of stand at the line like you're standing for a nickel blitz or something like that, I hope that there's not a glitch in the game to where you do not need any momentum to kind of free up a defensive line and it's going to cause a lot of nano blitz or anything like that. Hopefully you need some momentum, and that stats and size and weight thing kind of matters as well when doing it, because even if a cornerback kind of runs into certain offensive tackles, say for instance one of the best in Trent Williams, it's not going to do anything as far as freeing up that defensive end. You're better off just running around him versus trying to free up a defensive end. For the next component of hit everything, we have the mid-air knockouts. Now this is very simple and straight to the point. As far as I've read, all this is they added new animations, but let me go ahead and read this. It says, in Madden 23, FieldSENSE has unlocked the best of both worlds to create dynamic interactions called mid-airs that both create authentic interactions but also give players the control they desire in those critical catching moments. Now, like I said, more control, you feel me? That's one of the main themes of FieldSENSE, is they're giving the users more control over the over the players on the football field. But as far as I've read, it's still the same concept of SWAT, play ball, and play receiver. You can hit stick the ball out of people and things like that, but it's the same concept, maybe more in different animations, but the same exact concept still. Now, for the last and final part of the hit everything is going to be add-on blocks. Now this says hit everything is being used on offense as well with new add-on blocks. This is primarily for running backs and tight ends as they try to navigate through the traffic of the line to run their routes or on block and release routes. Our animation branching technology now allows these players to add on to and then easily leave ongoing block interactions with the proper momentum and results, rather than getting stuck behind piles of blockers. Now what this is for, say for instance your running back is like trying to do an in route but he's stuck or something like that. What he'll do is he'll kind of push the one of the guys out the way to kind of get through, versus sometimes, and a lot of the times I've seen, if you have too many blocking or the defensive line is too crowded, sometimes the halfback can't get through to kind of complete his route, and sometimes he'll trip or something like that. So hopefully what they mean by this is they're avoiding that by adding it to where your halfbacks and tight ends, they'll kind of push people into blockers and stuff just to kind of get their routes off, versus just running into them with no animation and no sense of contact or anything like that. And as far as the check and release routes, I've seen multiple times on, say for instance we're doing a delay fade, they won't block anybody or anything like that. Say for instance I'm really trying to do a check and release to where he's kind of blocking, I want my tight end to block the defensive end or the outside linebacker into the tackle. A lot of the times they'll just kind of sit there and wait until the outside linebacker or defensive end runs into them. But if that never happens, or if the outside linebacker runs too wide, he's going to be coming free as your QB every single time, and your tight end is just going to go ahead and run their route. Now, what this is going to fix is they're going to change it to where they actually go and block whoever, you feel me, is inside, whether you ID them or whatever, or double team, they're going to go block, and it's going to be more, you feel me, more realistic and more physical in that area. Now, we're on to the next thing, and it's gonna be the skill-based passing. Now, all this is, I'm gonna label it target passing, because we've seen this one time before, and what happened was everybody just cut it off. So hopefully they found a way to kind of convince Madden players to continue to use it, whether it's giving them an advantage for using it, or just, you feel me, making it easier to use or something like that. But what this description says, it says skill-based passing is designed to give you even more control over every pass you throw by combining a new passing meter to dictate your power and trajectory on pass, and a new control for pinpoint precision. With skill-based passing, you can now leave receivers open and place the ball where only they can get it. You'll have the ability to make back shoulder throws, place it into the perfect spot on the corner route, hit your receiver for an end zone fade, or drop it over the defenders on a streak. Now, what I love to hear from this is, my favorite thing from this is going to be the back shoulder throws, because time and time again, sometimes you don't need to have these crazy route combos in the red zone or down in the goal line, man, or for a first down. A lot of the times in the NFL, all they do is, once they get to a certain points down the field, is what they'll do. They'll go to their number one receiver, throw it to their back shoulder, and just catch it in the end zone, get feet in. Now, as far as Madden 22 and previous Maddens, you have no option over that. You try and throw a fade or a streak inside the red zone, you're gonna get picked off 9 out of 10 times. Now, as far as, like I was saying, I want this feature to be a feature that gives you an advantage over opponents. I don't want to see players just, you feel me, kind of turn it off and things like that. We will get into the settings of it in a little bit, but I want this feature to be a feature that sticks around throughout the year, and it's not a feature that just kind of fades away as the year goes on. Now, I do get EA from a standpoint, this is a hard addition to make to kind of keep people wanting to use it and not going back to the Madden they know. Now, one thing I do suggest is find a way to kind of make this feature very beginner friendly, because for beginners who are playing Madden, when they go into Madden, they're already bad at making reads, so making them kind of have to put where they want the ball and things like that, it just kind of makes it 10 times harder for a new Madden player. So I need EA to kind of make this a beginner friendly thing to kind of get the newer Madden players to kind of go towards using this. Now, another thing it says on the EA website, it says to use skill-based passing, press any receiver icon to throw the ball and use the left stick to aim your pass to lead the receiver. Skill-based passing can be used intuitively post-snap to throw the ball however you want to whoever you want. It's that simple. Now, like I said, the description, it sounds it's very self-explanatory. You press the button, you move the ball to wherever you want it to go. It's very self-explanatory, but like I said, does this really give you an advantage enough to where Madden players, the real Madden players, actually want to use this feature and to continue to use this feature? Now, so more on it, it says freeform passing. Freeform passing is another layer of control you can master as you become your favorite NFL quarterback. Freeform gives you the ability to pinpoint your throw to your receiver both within and outside the area, outside of the target area. Now, the target area, if you watch the trailer, you've seen it's a small, little where, you go to catch the ball circle, and then it's a big old circle area, which I'm guessing is the target area. So basically what this is for if you want to do insane pass leads or something like that, you don't just want to get the ball to your receiver in the most comfortable way as possible. Say for instance, your receiver has him beat on a streak. Your target area may be a little closer to the receiver as you want it. Than you want it to be. So you want, if you say for instance you want a bigger pass lead, you have the option with this feature to kind of lead it further out than the target area gives you, because obviously the target area is a AI driven thing to where it kind of gives you, it's not going to give you exactly what you want. So with freeform passing, you kind of can make it more to exactly what you want, as far as where you want the ball and things like that. And as far as low ball, high passes goes, the target area may be a little bit different and a little bit trickier as far as that. And now, where it says now we're on the next session. It says skill-based passing settings. It said we made sure to offer total control and customization with skill-based passing under game options found in settings menu. Now, another thing it reads, it says, while we really encourage players to take advantage of the new skill-based passing, you can select the classic passing settings. The classic passing type to use our legacy passing mechanics. Now, what this means, you can turn off the setting, which is a thank God, because if they do find a way to mess this setting up, or if it's not, as if it doesn't give you any advantages, or there's no reason to kind of use the setting, you can go back to your normal Madden to where you just press the icon and kind of move the left stick to wherever you want the ball for a regular pass lead and things like that. And you can go back to those settings. Now, like I said, they're gonna have to find a way to make Madden, or kind of influence Madden players to use this feature, kind of giving them advantages and things like that. Because if not, this feature, you kind of wasted your time as far as this feature, because a lot of Madden players are just gonna cut it off as soon as they get the game. And that's another reason you kind of want it to be beginner friendly, because you don't want it to take too long to learn how to use it. Because unfortunately, a lot of people are impatient as far as things like that, so they're just gonna go ahead, turn off the setting, go back to their old Madden, and win games that way. Now, I believe that is the end to our pass. I'm just gonna call it target passing, because that's what it is. So basically, quick rundown: you put the ball with the left stick, and you press their icon. Very simple and self-explanatory. Excuse me, but if they want this to work or to be an ongoing thing, they're going to have to make it beginner friendly, and they're going to have to find a way to give it advantages over the regular playstyle of Madden. Now, here we are on the third little portion of FieldSENSE, and it's the 360 cuts. Now, this reads, it says 360 cuts gives players precise control to trigger hard cuts at any points while running with the ball. Previously, players could only rely on their left stick input to choose between hard cuts or rounded turns. In Madden 23, you now have the control to cut when and where you want, so your ball carrier can find the lanes as you see them. So all this is like when you only can, say for instance, you're running a stretch to the left side of the field and you need that sharp cut up with some explosion to it. You really couldn't do that in Madden 22. Like, you could cut up, but it's not going to be an actual cut up to where it's with explosion and things like that. This 360 cuts feature kind of gives you that option, and it makes it available to where your cuts are sharper and things like that. So let's go ahead and read a little bit more on it. And it says, hold LT and L2 when running with the ball while changing direction on the left stick to execute the 360 cuts mechanic. You'll be able to easily cut a run back, cut off a blocker's back to hit the lane, or make a cut into a tight gap. Whether you're a running back, a quarterback on the run, receiver after a catch, or if you're returning a kickoff or interception, 360 cuts offer total control. Now, my favorite thing that I just heard about that is you can do it with quarterbacks. And now, say for instance, you get stuck on the back of your blocker, you can now cut whichever direction you want with a button. You don't have to rely solely on a random animation given to you from your left stick. Now, as far as the QB goes, I like that so much, because when you're on the run, a lot of the times, like they mentioned already, you only can resort to your left stick. But when you can only move around out the pocket with escape artist. Once that ability is done and used, you just have to kind of run around defenders versus cutting around the field to kind of get in position to kind of make a play or make something out of nothing happen. Now, that's very sweet and short and to the point. 360 cuts, all it is the mechanic to kind of go through lanes better and things like that. So for all my heavy runners, this is a beautiful mechanic, because it should upgrade and take your stick work to the next level as far as Madden goes. For the last and final portion of FieldSENSE, we have wide receiver versus DB battles, and it reads, our last set of gameplay mechanics FieldSENSE delivers is branching wide receiver releases and cuts, defensive back presses and counters, and an all new defensive evade mechanic. These mechanics are available in every game mode, but have been created specifically with player locked modes like Face of the Franchise, the League and Squads, and Superstar KO in mind. Now, what this is basically saying is, this is more heavily set on people who's using DBs on receiver, and who's players who's locking onto receivers, / if you're playing team play, using a receiver. Now, for all my wide receivers DBs, I do have a few of those on my channel. This is a big time upgrade, because it's basically added more animations. Hopefully we can see more different release counters and things like that. Hopefully they're not lying to us. But Another thing that I'm wishing for, it's not only for users, because what I love to see with the progression of Madden and new Maddens is I like to see more individuality in players. So say for instance, we got Jalen Ramsey versus Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson may react to certain presses from Jalen Ramsey in a different way, other than other receivers. And like it says here, different receiver counters and things like that. I just feel like those are more realistic things, because I feel like we've been seeing the same release animations off presses for a few years now. So hopefully we can see different things at the line from our receivers. If they're pressing, hopefully maybe a wide receiver counter may delay the route a little bit more. So maybe a press can help in your favor to where you're blitzing and you press up and it takes them a little while longer to kind of get off that press, because they're trying to get their counters off and things like that, to get the ball to your receiver. So that's what I'm hoping to hear from that, and some more information on Madden 23. That's pretty much wrap up FieldSENSE, but we had the biggest news of them all, and it's going to be about escape artists, man. Here we read, it says, also, if you decided to just Control F for escape artist, we got you. Escape artist has been pulled from the past to superstar ability pool and is now an X factor in Madden 23. Now this can go left, completely left, or can go completely right. Now what I mean by that is, say for instance, you now have this X factor ability as an escape artist. As a franchise player in myself, this now leaves an opportunity to now get Gunslinger and escape artist, or Gunslinger and Dashing Deadeye with both of them, no problem now. Now, as far as MUT users goes, I don't know as far as the AP, how they're gonna do it this year, but hopefully they're gonna make that X Factor escape artist cost a big for escape artists, and that's a way that it can go right, because as far as I know, I don't believe the X Factors cost that much AP, so hopefully they tax on escape artists X Factor as far as AP wise, so that way it kind of limits the QB abilities. Because like I said, as far as regs goes, yes, this is an amazing thing because they distribute the abilities and things like that, but as far as MUT and franchise goes, you now have this ability here that if you don't find a way to kind of limit it, limit the other superstar abilities QBs get with escape artists as their X Factor, is going to go completely wrong, and it's just going to make quarterbacks even more overpowered than it was in Madden 22, man. So that should pretty much wrap up the vid, man. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed the news that I've just provided for you on FieldSENSE, please be sure to hit that like button, comment down below what y'all think of Madden 23 for me. If you're new to the channel, sub up, and it's your boy Bean, and I'm out.